Professor Michael Manassian, and I'm in Key West, Florida at the Hemingway House here on Whitehead Street in Key West. Now we're going to go inside the house. This is Professor Manassian, and we're inside the Hemingway home here in Key West. This is the dining area. Downstairs, a nice wraparound porch outside the house. And there's some fans going. There's no air conditioning in here, obviously, but there are some nice fans going, and it's fairly cool. Lots of Hemingway cats around, although again, that might be an added-on myth. Part of the Hemingway myth, because I've heard that the cats came after he left the house. The Hemingway cats are famous because they have 6 claws on one of the front paws, and they're specially bred that way, I believe. And actually, we used to be able to adopt them. I'm not sure if that's still the case or not. It's a sitting room area. A lot of paintings, as you can see. There's paintings on the wall, fishing motifs and sailing. There's some photographs here. There's some photos of Hemingway. This apparently is when he had maybe one of his many plane crashes. And there he is when he was young. It looks like when he was a reporter. Lots of interesting paintings here as well. Mementos of Hemingway in the house here in Key West. A very large room again. No air conditioning rather, but lots of fans blowing the cool air, and we've got the breeze coming in from the porch area also. And this is the other side of the room, the sitting room where we were just talking. And you can see as I think would be a depiction, the painting on the wall here. This one right here is probably a depiction of the old man in the sea. You see the very large fish with the single man of the fishing boat. And he won the Pulitzer Prize for that short novel, The Old Man in the Sea. The second floor of the Hemingway home. In the bedroom, this is where Ernest Hemingway and his wife slept. And this is the famous Hemingway bed. You can see the chain around the bed. Obviously, they don't want anyone sitting or lying on the bed, except for the cats. 2 of the famous Hemingway cats have found a place to rest. There's one right there, obviously in the center of the bed. And if you see the other one, if the camera can pick that up, but there's another cat right here. I'm going to reach over and touch him. If I can just reach over the bed here. And there he is. He just woke up. The ears are moving. This is the second floor. As I said, it's a bit warmer up here. There's, again, no air conditioning, but the fans are blowing, and it seems to be a little warmer than downstairs. Hot day here in Key West, I have to say. A very hot day, probably about 90 degrees, and typical for Key West this time of year. Remember, folks, it's snowing up north right now. Now I'm standing on the second floor veranda of the Hemingway home. It's nice and cool up here, nice breeze blowing. You've got open area, trees, palm trees and coconut palms and so on, lots of other nice foliage here. And behind me is the Key West Lighthouse. You can see that just directly behind me across the street. That lighthouse has been here for, I believe, a couple of centuries. And it used to be closer to the water. Now it's a little bit inland, and they don't use it anymore, obviously. But it is a museum as well, and you can tour the lighthouse as well as the Hemingway home the same day. Hi, I'm standing in one of the second floor rooms, and this room contains a few cabinets and a long case with many of Hemingway's books. In this case behind me, there are several of his novels and short story collections, including For Whom the Bell Tolls and The Green Hills of Africa, In Our Time, and some of his other works. It's a nice little display case with books of Hemingway. Students today forget, I think, or never were told how important that Hemingway really was to the development of the American prose style. It was extremely important. His novels and short stories have been very influential and continue to influence writers today. Outside the Hemingway home, there's a nice little Japanese pool here and bridge over the water with a little waterfall to my left. Very nice, comfortable and cool out here, but it is a hot day. I know I shouldn't mention that too much, but I can't help it. It's a very hot day here in Key West. Outside in the garden area next to the swimming pool. It's a really nice, cool spot here. Lots of trees and foliage, some interesting plants, cacti and palm trees right around me. And Hemingway owned this house for about 30 years, I think. And he spent quite a bit of time here, wrote several of his novels here. And at one point he moved to Cuba, and that was his main residence. But he did keep this house
He had been divorced from his wife by then, and he kept the house, and was in his estate when he died in 1960. This is Professor Manassian again, and I'm standing in front of the pool at the Ernest Hemingway home in Key West. This was the first pool ever built in Key West, and in the 1930s it cost a whopping $20,000. The rumor is, I think it's a rumor, I'm not really sure if it's true, although they tell the story here, is that when Hemingway saw the pool and he found out how much it cost, that he took a penny out of his pocket and he stuck it in the cement and he said, "Here, you might as well have my very last penny," and spend it on the pool. Okay, now I've just come out of the house, again leaving finally the Hemingway House Museum here in Key West, Florida, after a nice tour of the gardens and the upstairs and downstairs of the house. And we're getting ready to go out and have some of that famous Key West cheer.